Good.
All right, well, we're ready to roll. So let's go. Let's go.
I know you're always excited this time of year, but given the prospects, given the state of your program, you must admit the adrenaline's probably flowing a little more this year, or not?
Not really. I mean, I guess the day will come where maybe I'm not jacked up to start the grind of the season, and when that day comes, I'll be doing something else, I guess. But man, I've been chomping at the bit to just. That's the hardest part of the summer is just the time. You know, it's great to get a little break, but you know, I love the grind. I love structure. I like, more importantly, I love being with the players. And so, you know, the off season is, or the so-called off season, you know, once you get out of spring, you know, you're away from your guys a lot, you know, because there's just a lot that comes with the job, and that's necessary as well. But this is the best time of year because, man, you get back to doing what you love more than anything. And for me, that's being with the players on a daily basis, every single day, and you know, just bringing a group of people together for a common purpose, and trying to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And so that process has already started, and has started, you know, when we got back from Arizona, to be honest with you, and trying to, you know, get this team ready for this year's journey. But now we get to the fun part, and that's get back on the field and really, you know, start seeing how our work has paid off from what we've done January to this point.
This year, you're the hunted rather than the hunter. You can't say no respect. How do you manage those expectations and keep everybody focused? Yeah,
you know, I mean, I've had that question a couple times, but I don't see it that way. I mean, I think we've been the hunted for a while. I mean, we've won 56 games in 5 years, and I don't know that we've been the underdog very often in the last 4 years or so. I think we probably 90% of the time. I'm sure somebody will go and research that, but probably 90% of the time over the last 4 years, we've been the favorite. So I think that our guys understand, you know, how you have to handle success, you know, and what you have to do to get yourself prepared each and every week to go play, you know, whatever the opponent is. I mean, I think that's probably the best part of our program is, you know, we just really try to focus on ourselves and trying to perform to a standard, and y'all hear me say that all the time, but it's the truth, and that's why I think we've become incredibly consistent. So I think the expectations have always been high. I mean, I don't remember a year that it hasn't been, and we don't have anybody on our roster that's won less than 10 games. So everybody on this roster, outside of the freshmen that just got here, you know, they know what it takes, and they I think have an appreciation for you know, what we do and how we do it, and there's a lot of buy-in amongst these guys. And again, that's why we've been very consistent. We don't get caught up in the distractions of expectations or the distractions of, you know, other people don't think you're going to be very good. I think we just we have a core belief in ourselves that we can. And my expectation is to be a great football team. And I don't think I've ever stood here and thought anything other than that right there. It hasn't always worked out that way, but I think more often than not we've overachieved for maybe what other people's expectations are. So for us, it's business as usual. It's back at it. You know, we're gonna prepare each and every week as if we're playing for the national championship, because ultimately that's the mentality you have to have.
When you've been in positions like defensive end or safety or wherever, where you've been able to be pretty consistent in those positions, now you got a lot of question marks with those. I mean, how are your assistants approaching this year of taking some new faces?
I don't think they're question marks. I just think it's just new people, you know, filling voids that were created because of departures. I really think that's it. I think we got answers. I think the answers are here. Now, you know, it could be a combination of guys. It could be one guy. I don't know that until we go back to work. But I think in my mind, you know, we're going to be just fine. I think defensive end, as you mentioned, is one of those positions that a lot of people are going to immediately look at it and say, wow, they lost 2 high-round draft picks. They just automatically aren't going to be very good there. But I don't think that's the case. I think we have a chance to be very good at defensive end. I think that'll prove out to be the case, when it's all said and done. Now, yes, we're young, but we're talented, and I think the thing that I like more this year, and you guys that have been around this spring, you've heard me say it many times, but it's the position I like to be in as a coach, and that is I know that I've got great competition at every position. We're talented, but when we have competitive depth, it makes everything else better, makes every practice matter. It just brings a different edge to the meetings and so forth, and to the game evaluation. Austin Bryant wasn't going to beat Shaq out last year. And it's not that he didn't try hard every day. It's just there was a big gap from a competitive standpoint. And this year, we won't necessarily have Shaq and Dodd, that type of experienced talent, but we got talent. And then we've got some good depth that's very competitive in talent. So I think when you have that situation, good things happen. And so I like where we are. I like the roster that we have. There's a lot of questions for a lot of people outside of our walls as far as, okay, well, who are they going to run out there first? And that's a valid question, but I think the answers are here. It's just a matter of, kind of filling in the blank as we go through camp, because, there's a lot that has to take place between now and then. And you've got, obviously, competition, you've got injuries, you've got all kind of things that take place, that'll ultimately determine who runs out there first.
Dabo, roster-wise, everybody healthy, ready to go in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, everybody's in good shape. I think we got a couple guys, Adrian Baker is going to obviously miss camp. He's still going through his rehab process, doing well, progressing well, but he'll be out, and I think that's the main one. Cannon Smith's coming off of a shoulder surgery, but I think he's going to be cleared and ready to go by the 2nd. So he'll probably be limited, probably in green for a few days, but at some point in camp they'll be cutting him loose, so he'll be able to get some work in. But other than that, we should be okay from a veteran standpoint. Those guys coming back. A lot of people will probably ask about Feaster because a lot of people know he had some shoulder surgery and he's been cleared to get back out there as well. So he'll be out there. TJ Chase, we're still waiting on. He's not a medical issue, but hasn't cleared all of his hurdles academically yet. So hopefully we'll get some good news on him this week. If not, he's going to go to prep school for the fall and hopefully rejoin us in January.
Dabo, you got.
Excuse me?
Noah Green, is he cleared?
He's good. Yeah, he's ready to roll. Looks great.
Yeah, but you got what some of us would consider a bucket list trip to New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what that was like in Yankee Stadium and what other kind of things like that have happened for you and your family and the team since the championship.
No, I was just telling Qualk, it's the power of the paw. It ain't nothing about me. It's just because, I'm associated with the brand of Clemson. And, it's fun to have an opportunity to do some neat things like that. But yeah, I got invited up and took my boys, and they thought a big building was Clemson House, and those new high rises in downtown they just built. So it's pretty neat to see their reaction, to see the city, and then to be able to go to Yankee Stadium and get a tour. And the Yankees were very hospitable, and Coach Girardi spent a lot of time with us, and got to meet his daughter and some of the players, and got to see Big Papi and A-Rod and all those guys. So it was really just a great experience, a lot of fun, and definitely a bucket list thing to tour that museum and see, all the Yankee greats, and you could just feel the tradition and the pride in that whole organization. So definitely a bucket list, trip for me, and one I'm glad I was able to experience for my boys.
Any other things like that have occurred in the last 7 months?
Not that I can recall. Got to go to the Cubs game. Me and my wife. Yeah. That was pretty cool. Wrigley Field. I'd probably rank that up there because I was up for the draft in Chicago, and it was about 45 degrees in May. But that was pretty neat. Got to meet Joe Madden and a bunch of the players, and so that was a neat experience as well.
Yankees fan, Red Sox fan, or Cubs fan?
Well, I mean, I've kind of always been a Braves fan, just because I grew up in Alabama, and we didn't have any pro sports, so it was like and I'd been to Georgia. That was about the closest. Florida didn't have a team when I was growing up. Mississippi didn't either, so right. Atlanta was the closest team, and Bob Horner and all those guys. I mean, I used to know every position, every lineup. I mean, I knew the backups, the pitchers. So. I followed the Braves. I remember being in college in my dorm when Sid Breen, limped around the bases toward home. We're all sitting there, is he going to make it? Oh, my God, he ain't going to make it. Holy cow, he made it, And so, it was a lot of fun pulling for the Braves. But, I'm just a fan of teams and organizations and competitors. So I've always liked the Yankees too. I followed the Yankees as a kid, but that seemed like another world. That was like, that might as well have been in China. I mean, it was another world for me. So pretty neat to be able to experience. Seeing Thurman Munson. I remember as a kid, I loved Thurman Munson. So,
is it fair to say that things around you and things in your life maybe haven't changed, but have kind of ramped up a little bit because of what y'all did last year?
Well, I don't think just last year. I mean, I think just the past 7 years. We've been able to build a consistent brand. I think to be relevant at anything, you gotta be very consistent for a long period of time. And I think that's what's really. I mean, yes, last year I think people maybe took a little closer look at Clemson, but. It's I think 7 years of building our brand, and we nothing's really different for us personally, other than maybe a few people recognize you from time to time. But I don't ever have a problem with that. I always enjoy meeting some great people. I met some great Clemson people walking around New York. Met a couple of recent grads, and I said, it's crazy. I got to go to a city of 20 million to meet you instead of seeing you at Chipotle downtown or something. So.
Nice to have Mike back as another playmaker around the song.
It's really nice, Mike's a game changer. I mean, he changes, I think, everything from a defensive standpoint and how you're going to try to defend us. We're in a much better spot offensively than we were this time last year. That's for sure. Going in, we played 4 freshmen at wideout last year. Renfro and Travion and Ray and Dion, and then we lost Mike in the first quarter of the first game. So a lot of, tight end was I think we're going to be much better there this year. I think that's a storyline that'll be fun to track, because I think the backups at that position are ready to really become factors for us. Same thing at running back. But having Mike back just brings a problem. It's just another one of those things that defenses are going to have to deal with, because he's a hard guy to handle.
Anything